Late at night, the doctors and the TV crew give them a fright. The movies are cheesy and so's the host. Look out, honey, here's 13 ghosts. And Dr. Destruction's Crimson Theater, Bill the Monster, Eater. And Dr. Destruction's Crimson Theater, Dr. Destruction's Crimson Theater, ghoulies, come on!
And here we are once again on Dr. Destruction's Crimson Theater, and big things are happening in Kenosha. Gene, you're here to tell us about the Orson Welles event going on right here in Kenosha, Wisconsin, and how cool is that?
Absolutely. Orson Welles was born here, and we're going to celebrate it the whole month of May.
That's awesome. May, why May in particular?
He was born in May on the 6th in 1915, so 100 years ago.
So in other words, you waited till just a couple weeks away to finally come on the show and talk about it?
Well, what can
1
we
week.
say?
Boy,
We've been busy people.
We're going to have to make this a YouTube, Facebook broadcast because, you know, if it don't happen on Facebook, it just don't happen. You think you'd get some bodies out, though, huh, to check out all these different events?
That's right. That's right.
What's some of the things that we can expect to have happen?
Well, we have a lot of different activities all around town. The best way to find out is if you're on Facebook, go to Citizen Welles Society of Kenosha. And
whoa, I
like that Facebook page. Remember, it's Citizen Welles, not Citizen Kane. But like that Facebook page, and it's got a calendar of events on there. It'll tell you everything that's going on for the whole month. And I'm here basically because the May 30th and 31st, that last weekend, to kind of culminate the whole month of activities, it only seemed proper to do it in a cemetery to kind of, you know, the dead end of everything.
And you work in that cemetery?
I am on the board of that cemetery.
Oh, okay.
And we are going to have a Welles Memorial Walk. His parents are buried there. 3 of his grandparents are buried there. His great-grandparents are buried there.
Now, Orson Welles actually was born in Kenosha.
He was born in Kenosha.
No,
in fact,
he's not going to escape that.
Nope, just up the street actually from Greenridge.
Now, you don't have any fears, perhaps, that Orson's ghost may come and spew his wrath upon the dirty little town of Kenosha?
I think we could handle it if he did. I think we could handle it.
Being haunted by Orson Welles would be...
That'd be
big. But everything he did was big, wasn't
yes,
he?
It was. Yes,
Can you
kind
of give us a rather shortened, condensed biography
of Orson Welles?
Yes, there's, you know.
He came from a very colorful family. If you know much about Kenosha history, the Head family was a very prominent family. Daniel Head was mayor at one time. Well, Orson's great-grandfather was Orson Sherman Head, who was a prominent attorney, district attorney. Really, he had his red hair, and he was obvious in the way he lived his life, and he made some enemies, but he was a fiery character. His daughter, Mary Blanche, who was Orson's grandmother, was just like her father, fiery, redheaded, and at 14 and a half, she took off, went to St. Joseph, Missouri, met a guy there, and at about 15 years old, came back to Kenosha and told dear dad that I'm getting married at 15.
Oh, well,
so
that's what happened back in the day.
They got married, and father was furious because not only did she marry at 15, but she married beneath her class. Richard Welles was a simple freight clerk for the railroad, and here she's the daughter of the district attorney of the county, you know. And then they had a little boy, and that son was named Richard, and Richard, the second Richard, became Orson Welles' father. And he was he was a creative person. He was an inventor. His uncle worked at Bain Wagon Works. Richard, Orson's dad, actually has some patents for things that he invented. mainly relative to cars and lighting and different lanterns and lamps and things. So he was pretty well off, and he liked to go into Chicago, and he would like to go to hang out at the theater doors. And he met this sweet little thing named Beatrice, and they hit it off. She was a concert pianist, and I'm not sure what the attraction was between the two because they were quite opposite people, but they ended up getting married, and they had a son that they named Richard, so we kind of see a pattern here. And then they had, 10 years later, they had George Orson Welles.
Wow, so Orson Welles, born in Kenosha.
Yep.
And, well, where do you go from there? Of
Yeah.
course, the scaring the hell out of America. We're reading H.G. Wells, which I always kind of got confused with the two when I was a kid.
Oh.
Because, you know, if you didn't really pay attention when you were a kid, you would have thought Orson might have wrote it. But it's interesting that he shared the name and stirred up a nation.
Right, right.
And how much of that do you think was deliberate? I mean, didn't he try to pass it off as that people just didn't hear part of the commercials in between that said it was a radio drama?
And from what I understand, that is true. Now, again, Orson did tend to kind of, you know, like to raise a fuss and then kind of try to tame it down and act like it didn't happen. So was there some, you know, conspiracy going on there? I don't know. But there was an announcement at the very beginning, at least, that it was a melodrama. It was, you know, an acting event. It was not live news. But if you did turn in too late, it
So he
did
even
scare
accused
people.
his grandmother of witchcraft. A man who, you know, is that intelligent and did as many great things would at least say he's believing in witchcraft.
And supposedly in her house that is on Library Park, pretty much around the corner from where he was born, she had created an altar in one of the closets, and there was a pentagram painted on the wall and all this stuff. So
a lot of
we'll
kids
never
that
know.
did.
It's been painted since then, so we'll never know.
A lot of kids drew pentagrams on their walls when they listened to AC/DC too, right? I guess it's all relative, isn't it?
There you go. There you go. She was
that-
ahead of her time, I guess.
That's pretty incredible. And now around town, what's some of you have the graveyard walk, but what are some of the other things that'll be popping up?
Popping up, yes. Well, we have a lot of businesses that are involved. We're going to kind of do a trivia walk, and people can visit some of the different businesses downtown, and we're going to have some different trivia questions and just a lot of activities around. We're going to have RK Productions is going to do, did I say that right? Is that RK or RG?
RKG.
Whatever, I'm sorry if I got that wrong, but they're going to be doing some different programming. There's going to be a War of the Worlds event. So there's a lot going on. All things Orson.
Sounds great. And again, where can we get more information about this?
Check online at, especially on Facebook, at Citizen Wells Society of Kenosha. And there'll be a calendar of events. If you're around different businesses downtown that have brochure racks, I know like the three museums, the Kenosha Public Museum, the Dinosaur Museum, and the Civil War Museum, have brochures on Citizen Wells, and that will give you all the information on everything going on throughout the month.
Fantastic. Very exciting. Now, I do have one more special guest coming up, so just stick around for a minute.
My fingers are burning. We'll see you next time on Dr. Destruction's Crimson Theater. Have a horrifying week, coolies. Thanks for coming.
Love you, dearest.